Chapter 1: The Call of the Earth Awakens. Have you ever stood beneath a canopy of stars, feeling a quiet connection with the universe? Or perhaps you've walked through a sun-dappled forest, inhaling the earthy scent of damp soil and greenery, and felt a sense of peace wash over you. These moments aren't just fleeting pleasures. They are a reminder of our profound relationship with nature, an awakening beckoned by the earth itself. In this first chapter, we'll explore the essence of this relationship and the spiritual call it ignites within us for environmental justice. Our journey begins in a small, vibrant community nestled between rolling hills and lush forests. This is Greenvale, a place where the air is thick with the scent of blooming wildflowers in spring, and the laughter of children echoes through the streets. Here, the natural world isn't just a backdrop, it's a vibrant character in the tapestry of life, influencing decisions, shaping beliefs, and nurturing souls. As we delve into Greenvale's heart, we'll meet a diverse group of characters whose lives offer a glimpse into the ways our environment impacts our spirituality and vice versa. In the middle of this picturesque setting, we find Maria, a single mother and beloved local teacher. Every morning, she begins her day not with a cup of coffee, but with a quiet moment in her garden, where her hands dig into the rich, dark soil. This ritual grounds her, providing a sense of purpose. There's something about nurturing these plants that feels sacred, she often tells her students. It's life-affirming. Maria understands that her intimate relationship with the earth is not just about growing vegetables, but about cultivating a spirit of gratitude and resilience within her community. But Greenvale is not untouched by the tensions of modern life. Amidst its beauty lies a stark reality. Industrial pollution from a neighboring town seeps into the waters that feed their crops, threatening not only their livelihood, but their very way of life. This looming crisis serves as a constant reminder that environmental issues are not distant threats. They are tangible realities affecting the health and well-being of all living beings. How often do we recognize that our daily lives are intertwined with the health of our planet? The answer lies within our choices, and those choices ripple outward, affecting friends, family, and even strangers. Amid the struggle, we meet Alex, an environmental activist inspired by the teachings of ancient philosophies that honor the balance of nature. He often gathers with others in the community to discuss how their spiritual beliefs can motivate them to take action. When we recognize that we are part of this earth, our duty to protect it becomes clear, he passionately states during one of their meetings in the town square. For Alex, environmental justice isn't merely a cause, it's a calling. He believes that every person, no matter their background, can hear the call of the earth and respond through action. But can we all truly commit to such responsibility? As the conversation deepens, we learn of Eva, an elder deeply connected to Greenvale's folklore. Her stories transport the community back to a time when people revered nature as sacred. We knew then that the mountains were our guardians and the rivers our veins, she reflects. In return, we cared for them, as they cared for us. Eva's voice echoes a spiritual wisdom that transcends generations, a poignant reminder of the responsibility we carry to honor this connection. It poses a question for each of us. How willing are we to reconnect with the earth in a meaningful way? Despite their differences, these characters share a common understanding. The earth calls them to action. This call unites them, driving home the idea that spiritual awareness is intertwined with the fate of the environment. The conversations in Greenvale reveal a tapestry of hope and challenges, as each character grapples with their own role in fostering environmental justice. The challenge lies in the balance. Is it enough to feel connected to the earth, or must we also act? What does it mean to be spiritually awakened in a world threatened by ecological destruction? As we reflect on the relationships between these characters, it becomes clear that their individual stories are but a microcosm of a larger narrative that envelops us all. We are each part of an intricate web. The earth beckons us to engage with it, to nurture the bonds we have forged, and to advocate for justice not just for ourselves, but for future generations. The call is urgent. The time for complacency is over. In the end, the awakening of the spirit is not merely a personal journey, but a collective one. Those quiet, reflective moments beneath the starlit sky, surrounded by the beauty of nature, invite us to consider our place in the world. Will we answer this call? Will we stand up for the earth, our only home? As we continue this journey through beyond complacency, let us embrace our roles as stewards of the land and allies to those who are voiceless. Together, we can rise to the challenge, crafting a future where justice, environmental, spiritual, and social, flourishes. Welcome to the Call of the Earth. It's time to awaken. Chapter 2: Justice. Understanding environmental injustices. As we stand at the intersection of spirituality and environmental advocacy, it's essential to confront the undeniable truth. Injustices against our planet are often mirrored in injustices against our fellow human beings. Have you ever considered how the condition of our Earth can reflect the status of social equity? The scars on our ecosystems frequently align with the wounds in our communities. Together, let's unravel the complex tapestry of environmental injustices that demand our attention and action. In discussing environmental injustices, it's crucial to first understand what these injustices entail. Environmental justice refers to the fair treatment of all individuals when it comes to the development of environmental policies and the distribution of environmental benefits and burdens. Regrettably, this is far from the reality we often witness. Communities of color, low-income households, and marginalized groups typically bear the brunt of environmental degradation. Think about your community for a moment. Are there areas where pollution seems to disproportionately fester? Do certain neighborhoods seem to have more waste facilities than others? These disparities are not mere coincidences. They are reflections of systemic inequities deeply embedded in our society. Let's take a closer look at a prominent example: Flint, Michigan. The water crisis that erupted in 2014 serves as a stark reminder of how environmental injustices can have dire consequences. An economically challenged city, Flint found itself in a perfect storm of governmental neglect and systemic racism. The switch in its water source was not merely a technical mistake, it was an indication of how society often places marginalized communities at risk. When the water crisis unfolded, it wasn't just about rusty pipes, it was about years of disenfranchisement and broken trust. As you digest this example, reflect on how the principles of environmental justice intersect with your own values. How does this story resonate with your understanding of community and care for the earth? This crisis in Flint is not an isolated incident. It reveals a broader pattern where marginalized communities often live in the shadows of hazardous industries and environmental degradation. The placement of landfills, toxic waste sites, and polluting factories tends to correlate heavily with poverty. This is not merely an accident of geography, but a chilling testament to socio-political decisions made over decades. Can we remain complacent when our fellow humans are routinely sacrificed at the altar of profit? We must also acknowledge the roles played by corporations and regulatory bodies that have historically ignored the voices of disadvantaged communities. Corporations often prioritize profit over people, and this has led to practices that perpetuate environmental injustices. Take, for example, the case of coal mining in Appalachia. The coal industry's legacy is one intertwined with environmental degradation, but it also highlights the plight of local communities, who have had to reckon with health repercussions and loss of land. The spiritual cost is immeasurable. Communities are often stripped of their connection to the land, and individuals suffer from a profound sense of dislocation. Reflect for a moment. What do you think happens when a community loses its land? What value does the spiritual connection to nature hold for you? As we delve deeper into the narrative of environmental injustices, it's vital to recognize the legacy of climate change, which disproportionately affects vulnerable populations worldwide. When natural disasters strike, hurricanes, floods, droughts, it is often the underserved who face the harshest consequences. The reality is that climate change is not just an environmental issue, it embodies a deep ethical concern. The question of survival is at the forefront, but who gets left behind when the tempest strikes? It's not the affluent, but those who lack the resources to rebuild and recover. Think about the last time you witnessed a natural disaster. How were the local communities affected, and who was there to help? To truly understand environmental injustices, we must embrace a holistic view that encompasses spirituality, ethics, and justice. When we see the earth as a living entity with which we coexist, we begin to comprehend the moral implications of our actions. Our spiritual beliefs can guide us towards a greater sense of responsibility. Have you ever pondered how spirituality can motivate action in the face of injustice? It compels us to acknowledge our interconnectedness with all beings and reinforces the idea that our fight for environmental justice is not only an act of love for our planet, but also a fulfillment of our moral duties to one another. In considering solutions to combat environmental injustices, we must foster a sense of community that prioritizes inclusivity and equity. Empowering marginalized voices in environmental advocacy is crucial. One way to do this is by supporting organizations dedicated to environmental justice, particularly those that work directly within affected communities. These grassroots movements often bear the weight of change. They not only advocate for rights, but also foster resilience. Are you ready to lend your voice to these causes? Each of us has a responsibility to contribute to the dialogue surrounding environmental justice, to listen, engage, and act. As we move forward in our journey towards environmental justice, let's remember that our spiritual connection to the earth demands more than passive appreciation. It calls us to actively engage in the fight against injustices that threaten our shared home. The spirit of justice is alive in every tree that bends in the wind, every river that flows, and every person who stands up for their rights. Together, we can honor that spirit and work towards a more equitable future for all. Are you ready to answer that call? In closing, let this chapter serve as a reminder that understanding environmental injustices is not merely an academic exercise, but a spiritual mission. We are summoned to nurture the earth and uplift those who have long been marginalized. The road ahead may be fraught with challenges, but remember, each step we take toward justice is a step toward healing, for ourselves, for our communities, and for the planet we all call home. Chapter 3, From Spirituality to Activism, Taking Action. Have you ever felt a stirring deep within you, a whisper from the very core of existence urging you to act? It's a sensation that many of us have experienced, especially in the face of environmental crises that seem to grow increasingly urgent. This chapter dives into the transformative journey of channeling spiritual insights into meaningful activism, drawing on our connection to the earth and our responsibilities as stewards of the planet. Let's take a moment to reflect on what spirituality truly means. For some, it might evoke images of meditation, prayer, or quiet reflection in nature. For others, it could mean a deep-seated connection to community, tradition, or the core values that shape our lives. Whatever it looks like for you, one thing is clear: spirituality is not just about personal enlightenment. It is about understanding our interconnectedness with all living beings. This realization often inspires individuals to move beyond complacency and step into action for environmental justice. Many of us might feel overwhelmed by the scale of environmental issues we face today, from climate change to pollution and social inequality. It's easy to succumb to a sense of helplessness when news headlines bombard us with dire predictions. But rather than retreating into despair, spirituality offers us a powerful frame through which we can view these challenges, not as distant problems, but as calls to action rooted in our moral and ethical beliefs. Take, for instance, the teachings of various spiritual leaders and movements throughout history. Figures like Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. rose to prominence, not just because they articulated a vision for a better world, but because they embodied the principles of justice, compassion, and activism. Their spirituality fueled their actions, turning belief into a blueprint for change. What is preventing us from adopting a similar approach today? How can we allow our spiritual convictions to inspire us to advocate for the earth? One significant way to channel your spirituality into activism is through mindful living. Are you aware of how your daily choices impact the planet? It's astonishing how simple actions, like reducing single-use plastics, volunteering for local cleanup events, or even choosing to support sustainable businesses, can lead to profound change. The key lies in viewing these choices through a spiritual lens. Every conscious decision signifies a commitment to protecting the earth and its delicate ecosystems. By aligning our lifestyles with our values, we not only enhance our own well-being, but also contribute to a collective effort toward environmental justice. Furthermore, our spiritual journeys invite us to engage in community initiatives that extend our reach beyond our immediate surroundings. Local organizations often need passionate individuals to support their missions, whether that's fighting for equitable access to clean water or advocating for renewable energy solutions. By embracing community focused activism, we not only strengthen our bonds with others, but also create a supportive network that fosters collective action. Have you considered joining forces with local activists or organizations? The power of community can amplify our voices and drive change more effectively than we might realize. The journey from spirituality to activism also requires us to educate ourselves and others. Knowledge is a formidable tool in combating complacency. Have you read about the current environmental policies affecting your community? Understanding the ecological framework in which you live can empower you to be a more vocal advocate. Engage with local environmental issues, attend town hall meetings, or participate in informational workshops. By familiarizing ourselves with the facts, we become better equipped to engage in conversations, raise awareness, and inspire others to take action as well. Moreover, participating in peaceful protests or advocacy campaigns offers another platform to raise our voices. Imagine the energy of thousands of individuals walking hand in hand, unified by a shared vision of justice and sustainability. These moments can be deeply spiritual, providing a sense of belonging and purpose. But how do we ensure that our protests are rooted in nonviolence and empathy? The answer lies in staying true to our spiritual principles, grounding our activism in love and respect for all beings. When we approach activism with the same mindfulness cultivated through spirituality, we create a powerful ripple effect that can inspire others to join our cause. As we embark on this journey from spirituality to action, it is vital to remember the importance of self-care. Advocating for the earth can be rigorous and emotionally taxing. We must nourish our spirits to sustain our efforts effectively. It's not selfish to take time for yourself. It's essential. Whether it's through meditation, spending time in nature, or pursuing creative outlets, nurturing our well-being ensures that we remain resilient and engaged in our advocacy. What practices rejuvenate you and strengthen your resolve to protect our planet? In conclusion, the path from spirituality to activism is not a linear journey, but a dynamic interplay of reflection, education, community involvement, and self-care. Each step we take in nurturing our connection to the earth feeds our desire to protect it. It's a sacred commitment that all of us are called to embrace, transforming our inner stirrings into palpable actions that contribute to a more equitable and sustainable world. The question is not whether we can make a difference, but rather, how will we respond to the call? Let's take that step together. Our planet needs us now more than ever. Chapter 4: Ethical Living, Sustainable Practices for All. Imagine waking up in a world where every choice you make, from the meal you prepare for breakfast to the clothes you wear, contributes positively to the planet. What if each small action you took reflected a deep respect for Mother Earth? This dream of ethical living isn't as far-fetched as it may seem. In this chapter, we will explore how sustainable practices can be woven into our daily lives, allowing us to cultivate a meaningful relationship with the environment while pursuing justice and equality. One of the first steps toward ethical living is understanding our consumption patterns. Have you ever paused to think about the journey of your food before it reaches your plate? Each item has a backstory, often tied to complex systems that involve labor rights, animal welfare, and environmental impact. By choosing local, seasonal produce, you not only support local farmers and economies, but also reduce the carbon footprint associated with transporting goods. Next time you stroll through a farmer's market, think about how your choices contribute to a sustainable cycle. Moreover, ethical living extends beyond just food. Our wasteful habits present a formidable barrier to environmental justice. Consider the mountains of plastic waste generated by single-use items. Each plastic bottle, bag, or straw is a small piece of a larger puzzle that connects us to a global crisis. By adopting practices such as reusing, recycling, and reducing waste, we can combat this issue on a personal level. Have you ever tried a zero-waste challenge? Seemingly simple steps like carrying reusable bags, using glass containers, and composting food scraps can lead to significant reductions in waste. Imagine the impact if everyone committed to such practices. Another critical aspect of ethical living is energy consumption. The reality is that our daily energy usage is often tied to larger systems of injustice, from oil drilling that devastates communities to coal mining that pollutes the air we breathe. So, what can we do? Simple changes in our homes can make a world of difference. For instance, switching to energy efficient appliances, utilizing smart thermostats, or even exploring solar energy options can drastically reduce our carbon footprint. Moreover, advocating for renewable energy at local and state levels can shift systemic practices toward more sustainable solutions. Are we not responsible for ensuring that future generations inherit a planet that's sustainable and livable? As we navigate the waters of ethical living, it becomes essential to involve our communities. Change is rarely achieved in isolation. How often have you heard the phrase, "It takes a village"? The truth is that grassroots movements are powerful. Engaging others in sustainability initiatives, whether through community gardens, cleanup drives, or educational workshops, can foster a shared sense of responsibility and collective action. Let's be honest, it's easier to make lasting commitments when you are surrounded by a supportive network. So why not bring your friends and family into the conversation? Organizing local events or participating in environmental activism can create a ripple effect, inspiring others to think critically about their own impact. In our pursuit of ethical living, we must not overlook the importance of mental and spiritual wellness. The journey towards sustainability often comes with emotional burdens. A sense of overwhelm or despair about the state of the world can lead to complacency. It's crucial to balance our activism with self-care and reflective practices. Have you ever found solace in nature? Spending time outdoors, whether it's hiking a local trail or simply enjoying a garden, can rejuvenate our spirits and remind us of the beauty worth protecting. Meditation and mindfulness practices can also help ground us, allowing for a thoughtful approach rather than a reactive one. Remember, caring for the earth begins with caring for ourselves. Lastly, ethical living is about continuous learning and growth. As we navigate this complex world, we must be willing to challenge our own beliefs and practices. The field of sustainability is ever evolving, with new ideas and technologies emerging regularly. Embracing a learner's mindset enables us to adapt, innovate, and contribute more effectively. Have you ever read a book or listened to a podcast that shifted your perspective on sustainability? These resources can inform and inspire us, reminding us that knowledge is a vital tool in our quest for environmental justice. In conclusion, ethical living is within reach for all of us. It challenges us to be conscious consumers, active participants in our communities, and mindful stewards of the earth. Each decision we make, no matter how small, can contribute to a broader revolution. As we reflect on our responsibilities, let's ask ourselves, how do we want to leave our mark on this planet? By embracing sustainable practices and fostering a spirit of collaboration and compassion, we can honor our commitment to environmental justice and ensure a healthier future for generations to come. So, let's take a deep breath, step forward, and begin this transformative journey together. Chapter 5: Together for Change, Collective Community Movements. As we tread further into the conversations around environmental justice, the question becomes not just what we can do individually, but what we can achieve collectively. How powerful, after all, can a united community be in the face of climate change and social injustice? Imagine a small town rallying together, families banding to plant trees, clean rivers, and advocate for legislation that protects their environment. Examples like these are the heartbeat of collective community movements, showing us that when we come together, we are not only stronger, but also more effective in driving the change needed to protect our planet. Let's take a moment to consider the power of collective action. Think of the civil rights movements of the past, where voices united to demand change, to dismantle oppression, and to build a fairer society. Today, as we grapple with the realities of environmental degradation, we can draw inspiration from these historical movements. The fight for environmental justice is not just about preserving nature. It's about empowering communities, ensuring equity, and fighting for the rights of those most affected by ecological crises. One powerful example of this can be seen in the work of organizations like 350.org, dedicated to tackling climate change through grassroots movements. Their campaigns have mobilized thousands to take action, whether that be through protests, educational workshops, or community cleanups. The collective efforts of individuals, organizations, and communities bring awareness to the urgency of our environmental crisis and amplify voices that are often marginalized. How can we channel this collective spirit in our own communities? Building a sustained movement requires more than just awareness. It necessitates a clear vision and goals that resonate with those involved. When the community is engaged in co-creating objectives, they feel a sense of ownership and responsibility. For instance, the Community Environmental Legal Defense Fund empowers towns to become guardians of their own rights against harmful corporate practices. This grassroots effort reflects the essence of collective action, communities uniting to protect their land, water, and future. What pressing issues in your own community can you rally together over? Are there local environmental concerns that resonate with you and your neighbors? The synergy in collective movements can be incredibly transformative. Consider the global youth climate strikes, initiated by Greta Thunberg and inspired by youth around the world. This wave of activism has shown us that young people are not only aware of the challenges we face, but are also willing to fight for their future. They have harnessed social media, creative protests, and their passion to create a global network advocating for environmental change. It's a beautiful reminder that anyone, regardless of age or background, can be a catalyst for change when they unite with others who share a common goal. But how do we create spaces conducive to this kind of collaboration? Effective communication is key. Dialogue that invites diverse voices to share their experiences and concerns fosters trust and encourages participation. Have you ever experienced a moment where listening to others' stories changed your perspective? It's these very narratives that can bridge gaps between differing viewpoints and create a shared vision. Community forums, workshops, and open dialogues can be instrumental in building those connections. As you engage with others in your community, consider what stories you bring to the table and how they can foster a deeper understanding of your collective purpose. Another essential aspect of collective movements is resilience. The road to environmental justice is often fraught with challenges and setbacks. Communities may face pushback from authorities or corporations resistant to change. This is where determination and solidarity come into play. Building a community that supports one another, shares resources, and uplifts voices can be pivotal during tough times. Have you ever been part of a group that rallied together in the face of adversity? The bonds formed in those moments often lead to strong alliances and continued efforts long after the initial struggle. Together, we can weather the storms and emerge even more committed to our cause. Additionally, the effectiveness of collective movements is greatly amplified through alliances and partnerships. When organizations, community leaders, and even businesses unite around a shared vision, they can leverage resources and reach a wider audience. Think about local farmers collaborating with environmentalists to promote sustainable agriculture, or businesses committing to eco-friendly practices alongside community initiatives. These partnerships demonstrate that environmental justice is not just a concern for one group, but a collective imperative that involves everyone. What partnerships exist in your community, and how might you contribute to or initiate new ones? As we reflect on the essence of collective community movements, it's crucial to remember that every small action contributes to a larger wave of change. Whether you lend a hand at a community garden, participate in local cleanup efforts, or advocate for policy changes, know that you are part of a profound collective journey. The call to action is not just individual, but communal. It requires each of us to step up and engage. Together, we can weave a tapestry of resilience, empowerment, and action that honors our planet and all its inhabitants. In this journey towards environmental justice, let us embrace the power of community. Let's cross barriers, share our stories, and lift each other up in the fight for Mother Earth. As we close this chapter, let's remember, together we are a force of nature.